the F1 record for the shortest time elapsed before picking up a penalty. He was caught speeding in the pit lane in practice for the 2006 Turkish Grand Prix, almost immediately after he exited the garage, just 9 seconds into his F1 career. The United Kingdom has achieved more World Drivers' Championships than any other country, over a quarter of which were won by Lewis Hamilton. The record for the most cars in an F1 race was achieved at the 1953 German Grand Prix with 34 cars. The race with the fewest entries saw only 6 cars line up on the grid. This was the infamous 2005 US Grand Prix, which saw 14 cars all safety concerns.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to S14 for round 20 here at the Mexican Grand Prix. What a track this is as well. Very difficult track indeed, especially in the middle sector and overall with the high air pressure out here above sea level, the highest track ever. So it can be very difficult, especially on tire temperatures as well, because I had a race around here, I think it was 2 days ago, and interestingly enough, every time I have a league race on Sunday, they always follow the same calendar format, and I can take into this race as well about how the race is and how it's going to go with the strategies, etc. as well, with the safety cars and predicting what could happen during the race as well. So that's very interesting. I have a race beforehand with the same format and the calendar as well. So here we are with JDM in the AlphaTauri on the medium compound tyres. So you don't really see this in qualifying anymore where people go on the medium compound tyres, but with the mediums on for JDM, usually preserving a set of soft compound tyres. So this could be a bank for JDM, so let's see how he does on these mediums. These mediums aren't going to be the greatest qualified tyres because the low grip as well, the mid-range medium compound tyres, not really used for one lap pace unless obviously we have different circumstances. But look at that, taking a very wide angle coming out of the final corner. That's where Lawrence Stroll crashed as well in qualified. Same with Valtteri Bottas, but I think it was the final corner where he crashed, where he oversteered and hit the wall back in 2019. So here we are then, on board with JDM, reaching speeds about 340 kilometers an hour. So my straight line speed was about 337 kilometers an hour, the highest I ever got, because I was running trying to balance the setup out between high speed and downforce, because they're very important in the middle sector, and his highest was 340. So let's see how he does in this first sector at 28.7 as we make our way down into turn 4, turn 5, and these are very critical corners indeed. Slow speed corners, you want to screw up all the speed and just patiently build throttle up as we now head into the triple right-hander, or triple I say, double right-hander we go. It's not USA in Texas, it's turn 7 this is, and let's see how he does in this little sector, threading the needle through the cars here. And you don't want to take too much curb, but the curbs he took was fairly decent, so a decent middle sector there for JDM. It's going to be a 57.7 for the AlphaTauri driver as we flick into this right-hander we go. Now heading through the stadium section, and in all honesty, I really don't like this corner whatsoever because it's so hard to hook up. I don't know what it is. You just need the fronts to turn in, which at the end of a lap you don't really have. You can see JDM there really struggling to get the power as the benchmark is going to be a 17.7. The pole lap I did was a 13.7, so I'm 4 seconds quicker than JDM so far, but obviously it's a banker, it's the start of qualifying. He's not going to be pushing very hard because you don't want to light up those medium compound tyres and spin. Mackett currently P1 with a 16.8 in the Williams then, so that's the benchmark they all have to be. Had a great race back in the USA Grand Prix too, fighting amongst the likes of Rogue Smithy and Burmeister too. They couldn't leave each other alone throughout the whole event. Yeast GT goes into P3 with an 18.6 then, so these early bankers come in and not the representative lap times you ideally see, but these laps will get quicker and quicker as the qualifying session progresses on. So on board with MDJ, I think he's missed 2 races. No, he hasn't. He's missed 1 race actually, but he crashed in Qatar and didn't participate at the USA Grand Prix, and that has played a costly effect in the championship too, because he was gaining, and in turn 1, turn 2 and turn 3 took a lot of curve too, so surprisingly the back end just managed to live with it. You've got to be precise of where you take the curves there, because if you don't, you'll spin the car very easily. Zedham goes into P3 in the Red Bull, and MDJ coming towards turn 4 and turn 5, and you can see the back of the car just wants to snap on him, and Ramavaj goes quickest with a 15.9, then putting a big distance between himself and Mackett in the Williams as MDJ now makes his way through this twisty middle sector here. High speed corners where it's very easy to misjudge and make a mistake, and surprisingly as well, I didn't pick up a penalty at a particular part of the track. My 2 warnings I picked up during the race was this particular part of the session here where I just went out wide. It's so easy to run out wide, you carried a lot of speed through there as well in the dirty air, and you might see a few drivers going out wide at the exit of that right hander, but MDJ constantly fighting the rear of that Mercedes, and it's going to be a 17.0 then for the Mercedes driver who's currently second in the championship. And I think Harry Kane is on his tail in the championship too, because I think Laser has got this in the bag now with about 3 races left to go, with Vegas, well this race actually, Vegas, Brazil and Abu Dhabi. It should all pay to the favours of Laser, unless he retires in every single race, which I hope he doesn't do. Oreo Glass makes a return too, currently invalidated his lap time, and Glock, who was so close but yet so far from winning his first race of the season, is making his way out of the final corner, taking the short line there to minimise the distance, and he goes P2 with a 16.1. So early doors in qualifying, not the lap times I was expecting, but bearing in mind though, this track doesn't look lighted up once, so it's probably still green, and not a lot of grip out there too, very gusty as well on the track there. Luckily it's not replicated in real life because the wind, imagine if wind was added as well into the F1 gears, imagine how it could play an effect on the aerodynamics of the car, constantly lose the back of the car, you're going to be able to adapt to it too. But Oreo Glass looks like he's going for a second lap on those soft compound tyres, and it won't do him any favours. It's very hard to generate battery on this track. It's a short track, not a lot of braking zones except turn 1 of course, but you're currently on the throttle quite a long way, especially in this little sector too, so you don't have a chance to regain that battery. And that's what I discovered as well when I validated my first lap. I tried to go for a second lap, but I didn't have the EOS to go with it, and that probably cost me pole position as well, because my best lap I was out of battery towards this particular part of the track in this right hander then as he takes it through. And now we head into the slow speed corners of the stadium. It's a great view here, but he clatters the curb again twice, and you don't want to be doing that, especially around here, because you won't get away with it often like he did. Oreo Glass coming towards the line now with an 18.9. There's an Alpine behind us, looks like he was pushing. That's not Hazara because he's in the pit lane, and that was Samid. Samid's made a return too after missing the USA Grand Prix. He returns once again. He was so close to a podium, I think, back in Qatar, but I can't actually remember what happened to him. So into the first few corners we go. Harry Kane goes into P3, last week's race winner in P3 so far. Mackitt's done 4 laps on those set of soft compound tyres, or 3, with a 16.8. Samid coming towards the end of the first sector at 28.3. So I'm going to make a comparison to Ramavaj's first sector so I can get an ideal preference to see where they are. So 28.2 in the first sector. So despite it only being 3 corners, I say that, they're very difficult corners indeed to get it right. He's a 10th down in the first sector in comparison to Ramavaj. Now coming through turn 7, 8, 9, flat out through these corners, slight lift off in 10, maybe not, yeah it is. I'm not quite sure if it is flat out or not, because I tried it, but I don't think it will be in the race because you're carrying a lot of fuel, the tyres are heated up as well, and now, oh, that was so close there as he clattered the curb on the inside, almost went out wide. But in this slow speed corner here in the stadium section, now coming towards turn 17, this final corner, and this corner will catch a lot of people out because the tyres will be working at their best. Sammy comes towards the line, it's a 16.0 for him, and he pops that Alpine into P2, so that's a great lap time there from the Alpine driver, and his teammate has returned to SFR, ETA Hazara. What a driver indeed. His progress in league racing throughout the 4 or 5 years he's been racing in any league, he's been phenomenal. I think I remember a race here too back in Mexico where me and him were racing. It didn't end well there because this track does not suit me whatsoever, although they finished on the podium a few days ago. But this track, I was standing all over the place in the race. I was on the right strategy too. But I don't know, it could be a 2-stop strategy because the 1-stop could be a bit slower, so it could be a 2-stop strategy. That's if you can make the tyres last the distance. JDM currently in P10 with a 17.2, then I think he's just improved there to put that AlphaTauri inside that top 10. Is he stationary on the track? Don't be stationary for more than 10 seconds, otherwise you will be disqualified. Ramavaj is out there, is he improving? We're about to find out as we make our way now on board for the full lap. You want to be on the curb or half the half the track, half the curb there in turn 1, turn 2 and turn 3 on the entry. Look at that, look at the rhythm, the consistency, the flow he had in those first 3 corners. That's exactly how you want to take it. And now his best first sector is a 28.4, 9 thousandths down in that first sector is Ramovaj. That's super close, those fine margins, but as you can see, the back in the car wants to complain. He didn't get the best entry to turn 6 and 7 either. That was because he carried a bit too much speed as he was put offline slightly, and now he's validated taking too much curb on the inside of turn 8. So unfortunately that is a validation for Ramovaj, and he'll be frustrated. Looks like he was hooking up to be a decent lap, but you want to be very careful of the way you take the throttle in those slow speed corners, especially if you're running no traction. And he's proven to be. Good evening, Luis. How are you doing? Hopefully you're doing well, mate, as I think Ramovaj will be heading off into the pit lane due to the lack of EOS he has. I don't think he'll go for a second lap on these set of soft compound tyres. So back in the pit lane he goes. Glock is currently out there, coming out turn number 3 then. An easy place to spin. We've seen contact back in 2017 between Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel as well, as they were fighting for a championship. 93 hundredths down in the first sector is Glock as we head into the slow speed corners in 3rd gear. I think that's the best way to take it, as with a short shift into 4th. MDJ's P4 and Laser's P2 at a 16.0, so that's a good lap time there from the McLaren driver, as we see Glock make his way through. In this middle sector we go into 6th gear. Oh, look at the way he takes the corners as well, very fast indeed, just on the verge on track limits. He's 1/10 down in that middle sector is Glock, so I'm not seeing any obvious mistakes from Glock. As we head into the stadium section we go a bit wide, didn't really hook up with the apex there. And now we're coming through turn 17, the last part, or maybe this is turn 17 at the exit of this corner here, but he slides his way back in the pit lane and he realises that lap time was not going to be good enough. Bad on track, you can see, yeah it is, and Laser in P2 there, invalidated lap time, but I believe he's just improved. This Mercedes behind us, is that MDJ? I don't think he's on a lap time either, he's just crossed the line to complete a lap time, so they're both facing back in the pit lane. Sonic Hawk, who had amazing qualifying in USA, I think he started P3 if I'm not mistaken, but unfortunately fell backwards in the race because his wet pace was phenomenal, but couldn't repeat it during the race either, so he'll be looking to improve on his position there. Martin, the highest driver in the championship without any wins or podiums, currently in P10. He always finds a way to sneak in inside the top 6 there. He's very clean, very consistent. It's Martin looking for his first podium of the season. Where can he do it? Mexican Grand Prix would be a good place to do it. Charlie Smith, if you need a co-com, I'm available, bud. I take it you're Rogue Smithy, aren't you? You just joined the session, but you haven't picked a car. So, Rogue Smithy, are you sure you want to commentate with me? Because you do know you can pick a car, don't you? All you're going to do is tap the square button, pick the AlphaTauri, if it's not taken, if I can find it, of course. No, I can't find it. I don't know if I have it on the spectator point of view, but you have it on the drivers. Oh, he's got a race ban. Oh, Charlie, mate, what have you been doing? Hello Yeast, hello in the chat, mate, how you doing? Currently P14 with a 17.3, so hopefully you can improve on the lap time. Matt Kit has gone into P7, he's actually on a lap time, so he's 400s up in the first sector. But Charlie, you're in the SFR party, so you can join the party if you want to. I don't need to send you a party there because you're already in the driver's chat. He's a few hundreds up in the middle sector is Mackett in the Williams then, so let's see if he can improve on a 16.5. Not enough to take P6 away from Harry Kane, and you can see him sliding all over the place is Mackett as the Canadian driver from Liverpool, and it'll be the second time in a row I'll have a Canadian commentator with me in the comments block, one in USA and now here in Mexico. And before we get going, Rogue Smithy, make sure your voice is allowed to share, mate, and we should hear you on the commentary box.
Yeah, I'll make sure on that now. Let me just double check. It should be on allowed. Thank you for having me. It's a little weird being on this side of the comms box during the race this time instead of being in the podium interview, but I'm completely happy to help where I can.
I'm glad you could help. I'd rather have you in the race and fight for podiums and wins. But what made you? Why did you get a qualifying ban, mate?
It's a race ban, full race ban. It is. So I did a few sleeping incidents before you were in the league and started comms. I had a few issues under safety car in the first 2 rounds, and then I had a collision with someone in Saudi Arabia. And I picked up a load of penalty points. I think 4, 5 is a race ban, and I picked up 4 by Spain, and I was kind of teetering on the edge of getting a race ban, and the enough punch finally came in Austin. So
Oh, I'm sorry to hear, mate.
It happens, I guess. I'm not mad I got it. It was a completely fair penalty, but it's on to Brazil anyway. But I'm happy to be here and watching. Hopefully, such a good race.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be a great race too. I think Hazara might be doing a last to first challenge because he didn't come out the pit lane. I think in one of the Grand Prix. I actually can't remember which Grand Prix it was. He was at the back, but actually it didn't go well for him because even though he started last in Canada, yeah, it was Canada. He started last, and obviously it's a difficult place to overtake. I think we all know why he started last because you saw his pace in Japan, didn't you, Rogue?
Yeah, I definitely saw his pace in Japan. I saw his in I think I came together with him in Canada. To be honest, I think I had a slight collision with him.
I'm not surprised. No, I'm only joking.
I was having a good battle with him, MDJ. I think I'd have to look back on my video because I had it was a great battle between all three of us. But yeah, that was what happened between me and him, and yeah, it just happens in a collision. Robin's racing, as you say. So.
Not a bad place to get a race ban though, because I don't like this track at all.
I've done some practice. I've got a little bit of pace. I think I'm probably around P7, P8 currently on the grid if I had done a qualifying lap, but I don't really mind. It's not my favourite track to drive fully, so. But yeah, the tyres just don't have any grip after a few laps, so it'll be very interesting to see who keeps it at all.
I did a 13.7 around here, so I'm 2.1 seconds quicker than P1 for the time being. So if I was there, I would have top pole position by a milestone. But here we are then. Here is Glock on his potential flying run, heading down into turn 1. They're carrying a lot of speed, about 340. That's about 250 miles an hour. Going through turn 3 now on the throttle once again. Then DRS enabled on the second straight. Remember, only one detection point for 2 DRS zones. And we head into turn number 4 then. A few hundreds up in the first sector. Now flicking through this section here. Slow speed corners, very easy to lose track. You want to be very careful. He short shifted last time, but doesn't do it this time as we head through turn number 5 and turn 6. And you can see the back of the car complaining as he applied the throttle with a bit of wheel spin, but shouldn't matter too much as we flick our way in. His middle set to them. Very difficult corners indeed, fast flowing, but if you've got the curves, it can be very lethal. He goes flat out into turn number 8, I believe that was, and now we're coming towards the end of this middle sector. He's a 10th up in the middle sector, but I don't think he's enough to take pole away from Mamavaj as we make our way now into the stadium section we go. I think he lost a bit of time on his previous lap, Dick Glock, but looks like it's all hooked up. Short shifting to minimise the wheel spin, heading through turn 17, and let's see what lap time can set. Can it be pole position for Glock in the Red Bull? He crossed the line now. It is pole with a 15.8. What a great lap time there from the Red Bull driver. Is anybody going to take it away from him as second place man is going for a lap?
Laser is not improving through the first sector. That's all I can see. Samad up to the line. P-pole! What a lap!
My, great lap in time indeed from Samad there with a 15.8. But Laser, he said he didn't improve in the first sector, but he did in the middle sector. I'm staying on board with him to see what the McLaren driver can do. Our championship leader then looking to win the championship. I don't know if he can do it here in Mexico. I haven't done the maths myself. But Laser, massive snap!
That's invalidated as well. I probably would have been pole. And that is, Laser. MDJ up as well. That could steal another few positions. His teammate coming through the final sector now too careful.
That is a tricky corner, the final corner. Harry Kane is currently almost 1.5 tenths up in the middle sector there. Not enough for Paul unless he can find some more time in this last sector as he makes his way now towards the line. What's it going to be? Harry Kane goes P4. Look at the fine margins between P1 and P4. And I think somebody else moved up the order. I think that was your teammate JDM in P9.
Yeah, nice to see Logan up there, but you could see a slight snap on exit for Harry Kane. I think he might have lost a little bit of time through that. Ramavaj to the line, takes it back.
Wow, what a great lap time indeed from Ramavaji P1, currently 2 tenths quicker than Sammy. What was Maka going to do in the Williams? He makes his way now towards the lines. He's a valid anyway, so it doesn't matter. He stays in P7, but what about Sonic Hawk? Qualified P3 back in USA. He's currently 2 tenths up in this middle sector, but you can see the back of the car not sticking with it whatsoever. And that's a shame there. It's so easy to lose the back of the car. The tyres are so hot at this stage in that third sector. He crossed the line and he's going to lose time. Only just there by 400 lost tyres. So what could he have done on this lap? Because there's some fine margins between the midfield there. Could have been a P8.
It's a very tough track. I think I was on board with Glock as he went through turn 6 and 7. It's really hard. You don't want it to hit too much curb on the entry or exit. You just want to nip the apex, nip the curb a little bit. Otherwise, your car's just going to lose a load of traction, and you'll start spinning the rears, and ends up either in a barrier in the middle of the car or losing quite a bit of grip and tyre wear. And then Glock sending it through that middle sector. You need such commitment to do it through there because you don't want to hit too much curb, because again it'll just spin your car around. I've done enough practice laps around here to know that. And Ramovage, what a lap! He is on a roll here, clearly.
He's got some great qualified pace, but just needs to hook it up in the race. So I remember the Belgian Grand Prix, he was up there, but made quite a few mistakes. I remember him spinning at the bus stop chicane when he locked the rears up. So Ramovage is on pole position ahead of Samin in P2. The Scotsman doing a great job. Glock in P3 ahead of Hurricane in P4. These two had a really great battle back in USA. MDJ ahead of his championship rival in P5 there. Laser P6. Mackett 7th place ahead of Martin. JDM 9th ahead of Sonic Hawk, who's in the top 10 once again. Burmeister, a dismal qualified and a great qualifier back in USA. Cassidy P12 ahead of Yeast GT. Zenom P14 ahead of Adams and Oreo Glass P16 and Azara, the main man to watch, ETA driver in P17, and I can't wait to see what he does because he dominated the Japanese Grand Prix. But we're about to find out what happens here in the race if he can make his way through up the field.
Yeah, I think Hazara is definitely a shoo-in for the podium. I think it could be Ramovage if he keeps that quality pace up. That's a 10th. You can maybe see him getting. It depends on the strategy as well. If he picks the hards, goes for the hard soft. We saw Calvin last night's race winner. He did medium soft, but I was in party with him. He was struggling a lot at the very end of that stint. So it depends on their tyre wear and how good they want to feel as well. They'll have pressure from behind in the defence and the attack. They've got to balance it all out, and it's going to be really tough. So it should be a lot of fun to watch.
I have a league on Sundays where it syncs in with this calendar too. So I had Mexico last race and USA last race too. So I can actually bring some knowledge into these races of how the track feels and what the strategy is going to be. I finished P3 as well in that race, but it was so tough and difficult because throughout the whole race, no matter what tyres I was on, I was sliding everywhere. Just had no pure pace or grip whatsoever. So that's going to be very difficult indeed. But it's very important to stick with this DRS trade too, not to make too many rash moves, and we'll see how the strategy plays. I don't know if it's a two-stop strategy because I tried the one-stop, but the safety car came out towards the end, so we had no indication what's going to be.
It really depends. Considering I'm not in the field, I'd say a one-stop because that eliminates the chance of a safety car with me not being in the field. So I think, I think it depends on safety cars really. If there's an early safety car and you're starting on the soft, that's perfect, and do medium towards the end. Absolutely blast them and just go all out, flat out. But it'll be very interesting to see. I think tyres always slide around here. It always feels like that. I've done a lot of practice laps. I did a practice lobby with Martin and a few of the lads. It was horrible. So it's going to be really tough for a lot of the drivers. We'll see a few spins, I think. But hopefully a lot of good racing.
Oh yeah, for sure. We might see a few penalties as well, and especially in that middle sector and that right-hander too, because you carry a lot of speed after DRS zones. We head into turn 12. That's where people pick up penalties. And actually, I got my 2 warnings from that same corner to a turn 12 because it's so easy to just lose it there. You carry a lot of understeer, especially with older tyres, and they're just dead at that point, sliding around with a lot of temperature. But the light's about to go on. No formation lap, as I remember. There is formation lap in some leagues. I've got to remember which ones, just in case, which this league doesn't. Here we are then for the start of the Mexican Grand Prix. It's round 20, and we are away. A long drag down into turn 1. Samin takes the lead, but Ramovage looking for a slipstream. Glock there. It tucked in behind the slipstream 2 as we head down into turn 1 then. Who will take the lead of the Grand Prix? Can Samin stay where he is? Ramovage, can he go around the outside? He did, but there's a bit of contact too for good measures. We head into turn 2. They're still side by side into 3. A bit of contact, wheel banging 2. Glock just hanging in there, biding his time. Would he go in the middle though? I don't think so, because 3 into 1 doesn't go, as I found out a few days ago. But Ramovage takes the lead of this race. Glock down the inside on Samin. Into turn 4 we go. Has he made the move stick? Yes, he has. Then goes around the outside of the RP driver. Pole position is not the best place to start around this track because he had that massive slipstream down into turn 1. Burmeister squabbling with JDM, who's on nose beating compound tyres then.
Adam's a little bit squirrely out the exit of the 6 and 7 hairpin kind of thing. So it's all clean so far. Hazara making a very, very brave move through the S's on Cassidy. What a move, Hazara. And he's already up 4 positions.
We've got a few mediums and a few hard drivers in this equation as well, so we might see some moves early doors. You can see there Mackett locking the rears up, going into turn 12 as well, just lays the brakes and thankfully saved the car, although he's got both medium runners right behind them. So Martin and JDM looking to gain on these mediums.
Sonic's round into the pit lane, and there's another one round. It's Hazari!
No!
And Yeast! It's a double for Hazari and Yeast, and that should be a safety car, and it is a safety car. I just caught 2 cars flying across the track as I was looking at Sonic Hawk. Oh my god, what has happened there?
That's the risk you take starting at the back of the field. For the second time Hazara's done that, started at the back. He's paid the consequences too. So Hazara has left the session, Yeast is out of the race too, and that's a shame. They didn't even make it 1 lap and they crashed. And Sonic Hawk, who's spun, is on a brand new set of hard compound tyres, so he'll be delighted that the safety car has appeared. But what you saw, Rogue Smithy, were Yeast and Hazara taking one action.
From what I saw, it was Sonic Hawk made a little bit of contact with Bearmeister, which kind of compromised his exit. Yeast tried to go up the inside of Sonic Hawk then, which he ended up getting shoved off. Hazara went up the inside, and all I saw was a spinner Ferrari and then a front wing fly across the track. So it was completely unlucky from what I saw. I think Yeast is not happy in chat already, so that's just classic Yeast things though. But anyway. Should be a really hopeful and hopefully a really good safety car restart.
So I had my first safety car towards the end of the race where we all dived onto the soft compound tyres, and this is at the beginning. I don't think anybody's going to pit unless for the softs. Sonic Hawk was, but bear in mind though, he already spun and there's a few drivers there. Oh, Harry Kane is in the pit lane. And that's a very interesting call, very early. So what's it going to be for him? Is it going to be hard, mediums? We're about to find out then as he dives off into the pit lane he goes. I don't think the soft tyres will be used. And Zeno gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane too, as his fellow Norwegian follows him in the pit lane to go on the hard medium compound tyre. So that's going to be very interesting then. We'll see if Harry Kane can blast his way through the field then, giving up track position to go onto those medium compound tyres. We'll see if that pays dividends for him later on in this race.
So we know what strategy he's on now. He's on the 2-stop because he's probably not going to switch back onto those hards later on. If I was then on as well, I'd pit at the end of this lap, get that 5-second gone to avoid serving it under normal green flag conditions, and then just switch on to another set of mediums, because I'm guessing he's going onto the mediums as well. But you can also do medium soft, hard medium soft, or medium soft. So it could be an interesting strategy from Harry Kane here.
I don't want to touch these softs until at the end of the race because they're absolutely dreadful around this track as well. So I don't expect softs to be used early phase, but if we do get a late safety car towards the end, about lap 27, 28, the softs don't last long. I had them on for about 3 laps during the end of the race when the safety car came out. I didn't feel great either, even standing around the corners as well, despite not pushing hard too. So these softs are really punishing around this track. It's only used for qualifying only, unless we get a late safety car towards the end. But early safety car, 2 people have pitted, or 3 I must say. Sonic Hawk, he started the soft compound tyres, he's got over to the hard, so I wonder how many mediums he's got in his disposal too. But Yeast saying Hazara came onto my line in the final corner, so Hazara probably sneaked up the inside, but didn't make it work and had to retire from this one. Took out Yeast in the process.
I can probably have a quick look at both their streams if they have been streaming, so I'll see if I can find them in any capacity. Of course, it's really unlucky to lose. Yeah, Zenon's into the pits to remove that 5 second. This time going extra slow to avoid get that penalty again.
I can remember Esteban Ocon picking up penalties after penalties in Bahrain. Was it this year or last year? I can't remember now.
It was this year. It was last year.
Yeah, because this season has flown by, but at the same time, it's just that I keep forgetting what's happening in races because Max Verstappen dominated in races too. The season's ended in Abu Dhabi a few days ago, but yeah, congrats to Max Verstappen for winning the championship and winning 19 races this season. I think it was 19.
Something like that. It's I think it's an incredible feat. So I hope it doesn't get repeated next season. So that's all we can hope, really. I think so.
Yeah, me too. It's nothing against Max Verstappen, of course. All fans just want to see pure racing between teams like Mercedes, Ferrari, Aston Martin, McLaren, Red Bull, we just want to see a championship fight. You've got to respect the driver as well, also for dominating the season, like Sebastian Vettel, Lewis Hamilton, Michael Schumacher all those years ago. But at the same time, dominance can be a bit boring. I remember back in 2014 to 2021 when I properly started watching F1 when I was getting older, it must be said, in my young days, trying to understand it and seeing Mercedes dominate, and that's all I grew up with.
When I grew up, I first started watching F1, I think, probably in the Sebastian Vettel era when there was a few championship battles. I think it was 2012, 2011. So, I'm not very too sure, but hopefully we do get into the championship battle, because I saw, if someone removed on TikTok, someone removed Red Bull from every single race, disqualified them from every single race, and the championship went down to Las Vegas. Hamilton won it. I think he only had one win as well, Hamilton, or two. Alonso had the most wins, and he came second, just. So, I would like to see something like that, but like five teams fighting for a win, 4 teams fighting for a win, but it won't happen, I don't think, but yeah.
Yeah, we won't go back to those 2012 days where we had 8 different winners in the first 8 races, and 2012 was a special season. I think I was starting to grow up as well in those Sebastian Vettel days, but I just remember my first proper year, 2014, because I was a big MotoGP fan. I still am, but I moved on to F1, and hence why I'm league racing today and commentating. And it's been a pleasure as well to commentate for different leagues I've been in, especially in higher leagues where a lot of esports drivers are in, especially Hazara as well. But Hazara, unfortunately, making contact to the first lap, it must be said, and here we are out of this race. It's not great because Hazara has got great pace, we've seen it, but I don't think it's consistency is his problem. I think it's just a bit too much pride, it must be said. Starts at the back of the field knowing he could try and get first. Maybe a bit of fun, I don't know.
All of these drivers are talented, I'm not going to deny it. I'm not just going to say, oh yeah, this driver is talented. But all of them are talented in their own right, and I think they all deserve a place on the grid, and they all deserve points finishes, podiums, even a win now and again if the tackles come around. They all deserve it if they do get it. Not is undeserved in this league, so a safety car does come in this lap, so I'll hurry this along. I think there is more talent in some areas, but everyone is talented, and it's great to see, and it's always close racing. Even if it's not for a win, it's always for P15. There's always tight, hard racing between everyone, which is lovely to see. I'll let you take this away.
It is indeed. So the safety car is coming to the pit lane at the end of this lap. JDM has fallen down the order. Did he spin out at turn 12? I don't know what's happened to him, but he's trying to regain the places he lost. He was in P10, I think, initially, but I don't think he can gain any more places. So we get racing once again. Then let's see if Ramovaj has cleared the Red Bull. The Red Bull is right behind him then. So let's see what happens into turn 1. I think Sam is closer towards Glock. Yes, he is then. As we head down into the heavy braking zone at turn 1. Let's see who's daring, who's late on the brakes. You can see Glock lays the brakes alongside him into turn 2 now. And he'll have the inside line in turn 3. He gets so tight through here. It's very easy to make contact. And our MDJ will capitalise as Sammy had a bad exit out of turn number 3 as we head now into 4. But can Sammy cover the Mercedes driver as he's going around the outside into 4? We'll have the inside line into turn 5.
Contact. There is slight contact as Samad hits the curb. Don't want to be doing that. JDM is into the pit. I believe he might have had some front wing damage.
Oh, your teammate there suffering in P15 there. He's got great qualifying, but sometimes in races it doesn't go his way. And you found out as well. Both of you, I remember both of you having a qualifying ban. It was in Canada too.
Yeah, that was just after the Spain race, I think, where I blocked Laser and then I think it was a whole mess between us. So I think he tried to get me a qualifying ban for blocking, which was fun. Oh, there goes Ori Glass. Something happened to him. No, he's just dropping down a little bit.
Remember, we all know Harry Kane is on a 2-stop strategy now, so he can push all the way to the end of this race. And Mercedes is under pressure. That's Adams in the Mercedes then, under pressure from the mighty Harry Kane, who won the USA Grand Prix. He's tied with the same victories as Laserlord in P4 then. He's actually fighting MDJ for P2 in the championship. So, McLaren, by the way, have has won the Constructors. Down the inside goes Harry Kane into turn 1. The Haas tried to make an overtake, outbroke himself, and now he's got Sonic Hawk all over the back of him, but it's a bit tight going into 3, so he can't make that move there. But what a move from Harry Kane into P10. He's currently 2.5 seconds away, but on the fresher tyres, can he make an impact in this race? Try and close up. Sonic Hawk down the inside into 4. That's a great move from the Ferrari driver. Lays the brakes, very committed indeed, and goes up into P12.
Yeah, great move by Sonic Hawk. I think as well, I'm just going to make a comment. I think you were talking about, I was talking about Mackett. He keeps losing the rear under braking, I can see. He did that in USA, that's what caused the collision between me and him, as Cass gets a warning now. It's completely unfortunate for Mackett. He needs to increase his brake bias, in my opinion, because his rear is all over the place. That is what caused the incident between me and him, which eventually caused my qualifying, my race ban, but...
I think I think the max he should run is 56, because I think people run 54 or 55 if they have the confidence DRS is enabled, but I think 56 is the way to go in races like this where it's so easy to just lock the rears up. And Harry Kane sets the fastest lap of the race. He's actually right behind Cassidy too, so gained a huge amount of time on the Aston Martin. No DRS on this lap, it will be the next lap, but Harry Kane now is side by side with the Aston Martin driver, goes up into P9 and now pursues the rest of them who stayed out there. Harry Kane on the freshest tyres out the lot, only by 2 laps, but obviously we all know he's going for that 2-stop strategy. Push, push, push. No tyre saving. Oreo Glass in P13 ahead of Zenith, who made a pit stop on the safety car due to get that 5-second time penalty for speeding. No, for speeding in the pit lane, sorry. But you know what I find weird, Rogue? I find that you can't serve a drive-through penalty when the safety car comes out, because serve a 5-second time penalty and get rid of it that way.
Yeah, that is true to life. You cannot save a drive-through in real life under the safety car. Martin goes a little bit wide through the first part of the S's, drops a few tenths off of Mackett now. He's obviously chasing Mackett to keep that P4, P5 in the standings, as I believe Glock should be able to overtake him. But yeah, it'll be really close for Martin, I think. Racing Mackett, and probably he might just edge that P5, maybe even that edge P4. He goes a little bit. It's really tight margins for Martin, I think. Mackett getting a little squirrely on exit as well. Same for Fairmeister.
He's right behind him is Martin then, so he's going to make a lunge into turn 1. He's got the DRS enabled on the Aston Martin. Harry Kane just behind Burmeister 2. He's also got DRS on the back of the Dutchman as the Norwegian and Dutchman go side by side. Martin, great move up into P6, still on those medium compound tyres where he started, so has to capitalise on them while he has the chance and the tyre life. Harry Kane's up into P8 on the newer mediums in the McLaren so far, and now putting pressure on Mackett. There's a few drivers splitting up from this DRS, same with Samit then, so you can see the top 4 pulling away in the distance, and now he's going to watch out for Martin behind, because actually Mackett was outside the DRS range of Samit, but now with Martin who's up into P6, he's back in DRS range then. So Samit is now under pressure from the guys who have DRS, and Harry Kane were looking to get past these drivers on a little bit older tyres, but 2 or 3 laps on tyres can make a bit of a difference as far as Mackett does lock up going into turn number 7 on the right front there. But yeah, like you said, I did notice him too at turn 12 where he was sliding all over the place with the rear lock-in. He did it in Canada, USA, and here comes Harry Kane. Will he go to the inside? It's going to be tricky. No, he backs out of it. He's a very smart driver. He makes Mackett outbrake himself. And now we go up into turn 12, but Harry Kane gets on the curb there.
Slight contact, Mackett loosens the rear too, and again, that low brake bias comes back to bite him. And it's Mackett, he needs to increase it. I'm not like, he was all over the place in USA. I was right behind him, and he needs to increase that brake bias. But he has got the DRS on him.
Talk about DRS, here comes Martin on Samit then, so he caught him up and overtook him immediately. He's up into P5. Mackett has got past Harry Kane then, but Harry Kane lays on the brakes around the outside into 1, has more grip, and what a great move there to get back into P7, momentarily defended from Mackett, because Mackett had the DRS all the way down the straight. He gets another dose of that DRS as we make our way now. Bit of movement there from Harry Kane as we make our way into turn number 4. He's probably frustrated, he goes back down the inside now of Mackett as they continue the battle. Into turn 5 we go. Harry Kane trying to stick around the outside, trying to dispose that Williams as quickly as he can, but he couldn't do it. And now into the double right hander we go. Harry Kane, you can see the understeer and the slight contact he made with Mackett, and he's still behind. He's got to wait now for that DRS surely, because Mackett there stayed behind him at turn 12 and had the DRS all the way down the long straight.
Yeah, I think you could see him lose the rear so much, and that really helped Harry Kane, because they were both going side by side, fighting tooth and nail for that position. And I think not really smartest for Mackett, because he knows Harry Kane's faster. He just needs to know that where my fighter sits with Martin, it's with Samad, as well as Martin is now ahead of Samad. I don't know if we noticed.
Yeah, I saw it, mate, don't worry. But Glock is right behind Ramavaj then. Let's see if he makes a move, because MDJ has been hunting down the Red Bull driver, as we all got DRS on the straight except for Ramavaj. He's quite vulnerable. Will he make it 3 abreast? Into turn 1 we go. The Red Bull up the inside has contact with Ramavaj 2, and MDJ swoops around the outside to take P2 away. So the leader is dropped from 1st to 3rd, and now MDJ is in P2 in a prime position to take the lead off the Red Bull there. The Red Bull has DRS 2, as he was behind him at the detection point on the last lap too. So unfortunately that's the power of the DRS around here. If you're first place, you're completely exposed as well down that straight. Has Harry Kane dispatched back here? In fact, Burmeister has too.
Yeah, I think he might have lost the rear again coming out of that corner, as Sam, I guess, repassed Martin. I think Ramvaj, he just lost the rear. He did what Mackett's been doing the whole race. You can see him sliding a bit through there, through the first part of the S's. So I think his tyres are going, his brake bias is a little bit too low. He just slid through turn 1 and Glock getting really squirrely out that exit. MDJ down here not using any DRS to make sure he does not get past Glock before that mad straight.
Yeah, you want to be very tactical about where you position and where you want at the right time, because Glock on the previous lap had a bit of a moment coming out of turn 12. He lost the back end of the car, almost went to the wall too for good measure, but he saved it. MDJ is right behind him then, so let's see if MDJ makes a move on Glock. These guys were playing DRS chicken, as I did here in Mexico. You can see how it came to the back of Martin, who's on the back of Salmon then, and let's see, there he goes, then the Mercedes goes past, and what about the Ferrari too? They make it 3 abreast once again down the straight, and this time it's much more cleaner as the Ferrari driver slots into P2. Glock out breaks himself in P3 there. There was no way he's going to come back on that. And Martin is about to overtake Salmon, I believe, into turn 1. So let's have a look at that battle. No, he doesn't. He stays behind with the Norwegian driver right behind him too for good measure. He might get him down into turn 4. I'm just looking at the battle ahead to see if anything's going off. Look at that. Harry Kane's alongside, and here comes Martin. Will he make it 3 abreast? Martin has to back out, and now Harry Kane's around the outside. Now has the inside line into the next corner in turn 5. This is going to be a great race. Martin gets a good traction, but now he's side by side with the Alpine driver. Simon, unfortunately, he's dropping back on those hard compound tyres. Doesn't look to have the pure pace. You want to back out of this one. You don't want to go.
Samad. You pair of them at fault there. They shouldn't have both committed. I think one of them should have backed out, and I think Martin, he was the driver ahead. He has got the illegal overtake on Samad, however, though, and he's lost another position to Wehrmeister. So Samad getting the illegal overtake position back to Martin, and Martin's back down 2 positions this time. Maybe even, 3 positions to Martin there.
A double blow for Martin, unfortunately. Lost one to Harry Kane, Samid, and now Burmeister. And yeah, you should have backed out. One of them should have backed out. You don't want to go side by side through the corner. Oh, Burmeister! Almost lost it, cut on the final corner. What a save indeed. I thought I'd lose it, but Glock is dropped out the 1 second range of DRS. Here comes Laser. I'm going on board with the McLaren driving out, see what he does. Into turn 1. Glock had the DRS on the straight, so very importantly has to use this now to try and get his way back into that DRS range of Amavaj, while he has the chance with the DRS enabled on that car. Remember, only 1 DRS range, 1 detection point for 2 DRS zones, so it's very important to stay with it. I think Glock is starting to lose a bit of pace now. He has been sliding all over the show, and that's exactly what happened to me in the Red Bull too. Glock in the Red Bull. We're both in Red Bull in different leagues, and that's why I support him as well. He was my teammate at 1.2 in the Red Bull.
Yeah, Harry Kane now closing down the leaders. He is in a really good position to win this race, in my opinion. I think he's probably made a really good strategy call. Pit stops for the medium hard strategy should be opening very soon. As what's happened there?
Yeah, Glock will slide. He's actually let Laser through, so I don't think he has the confidence himself to just push, because they lost the back end twice. And lap 13 on these hard compound tyres is Harry Kane. Abusing the track limits there, has got a 3-second time penalty. If Harry Kane did have that battle with Mackett going side by side, he wanted to dispatch him very quickly, but Mackett had other ideas, which is fair enough. He's a racer, he's not going to back out because he's on fresher tyres. He still wants to race him, but ideally Harry Kane doesn't want to be in a battle with him, being on older tyres and knowing he's much quicker. He would have been closer to this leading back if he wasn't for that battle, but still, this is racing. It's what happens. You can't always have a you can't always get past drivers that quickly, and you're gonna have that battle one way or another. But Glock there on the back of Laser, MDJ and Ramavaj have pulled away, and now we've got a battle going on for P10 and P12. I think Sonic Hawk is ahead of Cassidy, whereas Zanim has overtaken Adams for P12. goes offline slightly, but here comes Burmeister on Simon then, so it looks like Simon is starting to drop back on those hard compound tyres. He's got a 4-way fight going on for P6 as he defends the inside line very beautifully, but Burmeister might out-traction him as, double locks up too, and thankfully didn't make too much contact there with the RP driver. Goes off the road, and now 2 cars have gone past.
Triple overtake lost there for Samad. I thought he was about to do the exact same as he did a few laps ago, but no. He decided to, I think it was either a back out or he's gone off. It's either one or the other. But here comes Martin now. He's close to DRS, just to stay behind Burmeister. And that was what Glock was doing behind Laser. That's why he let him through. He wasn't trying to just save tyres or anything. He wanted to get that DRS and get back past him and pull out. But he failed. As now Harry Kane comes at him.
Yeah, Harry Kane now is right behind Glock, putting pressure on the 2 ahead of him, so he's back where he was before the pit stop started happening. Rabovaj is so close to MDJ, takes the lead into 1. Sammy's out of the race, he's retired in the pit lane then. I think he's had enough around this track. This track is not everyone's favourite, and Martin's ahead of Burmeister. Goes up into P6 then in the Aston Martin. Wonder what kind of punishment is that, because he had no obvious damage. It's just pure struggling around this track, because I know in some leagues if you pit quick you will get it added to your penalty license as well, as I found out in Bahrain, even though Bahrain was one of my strongest tracks. Here comes Mackett, Burmeister moved, now here he is down the inside, into turn 4 we go, leads the brakes as they still go wheel to wheel into turn 5. I love these 3 corners. Remember, Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton had their battle back in 2017 in that McLaren Honda, which was terrible on the straights, as he called it a GP2 engine back in 2017 I believe. Then he switched to Renault, which also wasn't a great power unit. Here comes Harry Kane on the back of Glock in the Red Bull Honda. Now they're making contact side by side. This time last week they were in a fight for P1, now they're fighting for P4. Glock is evidently struggling on those hard compound tyres. I know the hard is a long durable tyre, but still it can overheat. And on the pad, I know he's on the pad as well, you can tell by the steering inputs. It is so difficult around here in Mexico on the pad. I can't tell you how difficult it is, because people on pad around here do struggle a lot, as I found out as well. 1 lap pace was good, but when it comes to the race, as MDJ will take over the lead once again. Martin is in the pit lane to end his stint on those medium compound tyres as MDJ fights away with Rabovaj. So the battle for the top 2 look like it's going to stay that way for the rest of the race now, with P3 on the cards.
Here comes Mackett into turn 1. Is he going to go late on the brakes? Decides to back out of that one, locking up on the front as well. As both of them do get the DRS. Oh, poor exit for Burmeister.
And here he is once again side by side with the Hash driver. Mackett powers past with the helping hand of that DRS, goes up into P6 there. So Mackett's had a great race, but like you said, constantly locking up those rear tyres. Can't really tell, you can't tell what brake bias they're on because it doesn't say it on the steering wheel, but what I can tell you is quite low on ERS too, as you expect around here. It's so hard to generate battery around here. Glock, once again in that middle sector, is really struggling. It's the same place he lost it a few laps ago in that middle sector. Once again, it's proved to be so difficult for him, as Harry Kane will try and capitalise on those medium compound tyres. But ideally now, I thought these hards were better than Harry Kane's mediums. Look at that, Glock. I was going out wide at turn 12. Harry Kane looking for ways to get past, but he can't quite do it as Glock's in the middle of the road. And for the second time I'm asking, can Harry Kane make a move on Glock then as we come out of the final corner? DRS enabled for both of them. Harry Kane used the battery there to overtake the Red Bull driver as we go side by side. I don't think Glock's much of a fight on, as he knows he's struggling, and Harry Kane moves up into P4. What are both McLarens going to do? Unless Glock comes back, of course, which he doesn't do into turn 1 as he's too far behind to make any sort of move. Harry Kane versus Laser. I think Harry Kane will get Laser into turn 4 there with the mediums and the DRS enabled on board with the McLaren driver we go. And I don't think he'll make it hard for his teammate as we go into turn 4.
Let him through. Laser just lifting off the throttle, letting him through. As these guys really struggling on their tyres now. Harry Kane should be starting to see a little drop off on performance, as he absolutely sends it through there. That is just pure commitment. As he should be able to give his teammate DRS, and I think Glock, the reason why he is struggling is dirty air plus a really high speed setup. I think it's evident, a recipe for disaster for Glock here, clearly, as he's completely struggling through that middle sector behind the cars.
I had the same problem as well running a high speed, high downforce setup, and low downforce setup too. Got my words mixed up with high speed and low downforce. But yeah, I ran a low downforce setup too, and it really cost me because I was struggling in that middle set to same McLaughlin. They're just constantly sliding around on those hard compound tyres. It's such a horrible feeling, especially down to turn 4 and turn 5, where the back end of the car just wants to step out. But the gap's gone down to 1.9. It was about 2.6, I think, a lap ago between Ramovaj and Harry Kane, as Ramovaj continues to put MDJ under pressure. These two will be swapping first and second on the whole race, and let's see if Harry Kane can continue. Look at the gap, 1.9 to 2.4. That was the power of the DRS, but with these mediums now, can he try claw in on Harry Kane and Ramovaj? Could be a big ask because those tyres are 50 lap hold. Ideally should be hanging off the cliff, but I don't think they're too bad at this stage of the Grand Prix. I didn't take my mediums too far in the race because I knew I'd be struggling towards the end. I did a one-stop strategy. I wish I did a two-stop because the reason why I did a one-stop because there's a massive DRS trade. The guys ahead started the mediums very interestingly. I started the hards, and I wanted to stay in the DRS trade because I thought I'd benefit towards the end. But once the pit stop started happening, I fell off dramatically on the hard compound tyres about lap 18 as well. And 1 lap later I pitted to go on the medium compound tyres. It didn't pay any dividends either later on, so I think a two-stop is faster. Depends if the safety car comes out, depends what the scenario is around the other drivers. They're fighting hard on all the tyres, but Harry Kane then, can he get in the DRS range in a few laps time? He's 1.4 away, but 1.2 now as he constantly gains on the top two. Bearing in mind, he does have a 3-second time penalty, so it will definitely cost him towards the end.
Yeah, it's going to be really close between these 3, 4, 5 drivers even now, as they're all so close to each other. Here comes MDJ again, Mikey DeYoung, absolutely flying down the straight, using a little bit of battery just to make sure he's ahead before the braking point as the zooms past that Ferrari. As Beermeister gets past Mackett, who has pit off of those hards. And just a quick one, Sam's retirement is due to a controller issue. It's been confirmed by Sam himself. That is a shame to lose him.
A shame indeed. I'm not quite sure if it was a skill issue or not. I'm joking, by the way, Sammy. We always have back and forth jokes, so don't take any serious comments seriously. But Cassidy has been overtaken by Sonic Hawk. I think Sonic Hawk has the DRS. No, it's actually Cassidy who has the DRS. By the way, great race from Cassidy, currently in P8, now putting the Ferrari under pressure, who's currently derated on the straight too. But Cassidy can't make her way past and has to stay behind the Ferrari for another lap then. But we'll have the DRS next time around. He's on the medium compound tyres, 18 lap on medium, so they should be starting to fade away or not, falling off the cliff right now, as MDJ is 9 tenths ahead on Ramovaj then, so he's starting to push now. Is MDJ starting to use a bit more battery? The gap is 1 second, so he's actually broke DRS by himself, and that's quite hard to do, especially with 3 DRS detection, well, 3 DRS zones around here. The gap is 1 second. I don't think Ramovaj, the white line is at the final corner, and he hasn't got DRS, has Ramovaj, so MDJ on pure pace is pulling away from the Ferrari driver, but Ramovaj using the battery there to try and make his way back in. Look at the amount of DRS he's using. The gap is 5 tenths. He doesn't even have DRS. Cassidy has picked up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings as Burmeister heads off into the pit lane then. That safety car did help a bit with tyre life as he can stretch him out for a few more laps. But did you see the amount of ERS he used? The straight line speed he had as well. Look at that. He's all over the back of the Mercedes driver. Will he make an overtake? No, he's too far back. That Ferrari straight line speed is powerful. He didn't even use a lot of ERS either. Look at that, 30% still.
Oh, there's yellows, and who is that? I think that's Cassidy and Zenon. Oh no, Cass. Already just picked up a penalty, just fell out of DRS with Sonic as well at the detection point. And obviously Sonic and Cassidy in party with each other. Same with Martin and Cassidy, and they're all in a big party with each other, and it's Zenon's let him back through. I think guessing by that, Zenon has admitted fault to that. JDM goes side by side with Adams.
Where is he at the moment? Currently in P12 is JDM and Adams then. So here we are. You can see the AlphaTauri has no battery whatsoever in that tank, but he goes around the outside of the Mercedes driver. And MDJ, Ramovaj have pitted, same with Laser then, so they committed at the same time. Ramovaj pits with the Mercedes then just following the Mercedes driver in, so he doesn't want to be undercutted because the undercut is powerful around here, so there's no point staying out 1 lap later. You might as well pit with him and try and stick with him if you can. Laser's pitted at the same time as well, so I expect Glock. I expected Glock to pit a few laps ago too, because he was struggling on those hard compound tyres, but actually he's still out there. Here comes Sonic Hawk on those older hard compound tyres. Do what Sonic Hawk could do, back MDJ into Ramovage. But MDJ's right behind him. Look at this, Ramovage pulls out at the exit of the pit lane and goes into turn 1 in front of him. The net lead of this race is in P4.
Fair play, Ramovage, and I think Sonic might just give him the DRS to maybe back up MDJ a little bit to help his teammate there. What a move, Ramovage, coming out of the pit lane on cold tyres as well. 17 seconds gap as well. That is how quick those front guys are, and you can just... They're always really quick at the front, and as a driver myself in this division, they are impossible to beat.
Yeah, I know how it feels as well, especially with Harry Kane. Harry Kane, I raced with him a few days ago for the first time ever, and he was very fair. I overtook him as well around the outside. If you saw it on my TikTok, got a bit of a promotion there, but oh well. Look at this. You can see Sonic Hawk backing him up into MDJ, but he pulls the right hand side. That is an odd place to that's a hard place to let someone go in the middle sector, and MDJ swoops around the outside too. So ideally, Ramovage would have loved Sonic Hawk to hold MDJ up, but obviously MDJ was right behind, and now Laser has to make this move immediately. Ramovage gets a poor exit at 16, and now might be under pressure on this straight. But that Ferrari straight line speed is incredible, because without DRS, I don't think he had DRS. I didn't see the rear wing open a few laps ago. He gained a lot of time on the Mercedes driver too. Here comes Harry Kane at the pit lane on a brand new set of medium compound tyres. Actually gets ahead of it, Laser Lord, despite Laser pitting first. Martin's alongside Laser, so not giving up whatsoever. Laser will be happy about this.
Go ahead, Martin. Up for P4 now as well. And Harry Kane, overcut there with him. Absolutely amazing overcut by Harry Kane. Sonic Hawk definitely did not help his teammate there whatsoever. Martin just sticking in the DRS. I could see a podium for Martin here.
Martin's on older medium compound tyres, so his mission might be a bit difficult being on older tyres. Zenom's ahead of Castis. They continue to fight. They're back together after Zenom respectfully slowed down after acknowledging a mistake into turn 1. Zenom and Harry Kane are both fair, respectful drivers indeed. And Zenom, who's currently in P10 so far, can he try and get some points for tonight? But Laser, right behind Martin, he wants to dispatch that Aston Martin. He couldn't do it last lap. You would have thought he would, being on much fresher tyres. But unfortunately for his sake, he couldn't. He's in P5 so far. And this battle for the championship is going to be very important between MDJ and Harry Kane, because if I remember correctly, they're separated by small margins. Ramovage sets the fastest lap of the race as MDJ continues to go after him. Here comes Laser Lord on the Aston Martin. That two-stop strategy has really helped Harry Kane as well to be back up into P3. Here comes Glock on the Aston Martin too with the DRS, and MDJ so close behind that Ferrari, but yet so far to make an overtake into turn number 1. 13 laps to go in this race. It's going to be a great battle between the top 3, unless Laser Lord can get himself in there too amongst the leaders. But Martin there almost got off track at turn number 3 and exceeding track limits too. Glock is right behind Laser too. Cassidy's on a brand new set of softs. That's 13 laps going to do, and that's going to be very painful towards the end indeed.
Yeah, it'll be really close for Glock. He's trying to go as well. He still needs to pit. He's going to come out absolutely miles down the order. Probably even behind JDM, maybe even Cass here in the Aston Martin.
Yeah, he is indeed.
Yeah, Ramovage still leading the race. Harry Kane needs to use some of that battery that he's got, because he needs to get in that DRS ASAP. Just to maybe stick his nose in and say, I'm still here, I'm still going to fight.
I love it when the top 5, these drivers, Ramovage, MDJ, Harry Kane, Lasers, Glock as well, all fight for first. It's been so incredible watching these 5 fight as well for the whole season. Sammy's been in there too, you've been in there yourself, as Harry Kane sets the fastest lap of this race. He's pushing, so is Glock as well, who's currently putting pressure on Laser. Here we go, change the leadership once again as MDJ pulls the right hand side, and also Glock does the same thing. Your teammate has picked up a 3-second time penalty in the AlphaTauri, who's currently in P12 so far. Might have to pit because those hard compound tyres are quite old, as Zenom has pitted to get off those medium compound tyres. 19 laps those mediums have went, and I couldn't even do that. That was so difficult to do that. Even when the tyres were like 12 lap olds, it was fading away bit by bit as well.
Yeah, it's, as well, I'm just checking the warnings. Harry Kane, no warning since his penalty at all. Ramovage is 1 warning on lap 14, 2 warnings altogether. So that might have been collision warnings as well, I'm not too sure. I'm just checking the race director and MDJ on 1 warning, so I'll just double check through the incidents. Should be, yeah, Ramovage exceeded track limits. Same for MDJ, and yeah, Ramovage 1 away from a penalty MDJ 2 away from a penalty.
And Ramavage is 1 second away from MDJ. Now he finds himself Harry Kane with a lot of battery in his disposal, can use it all on the straight because Ramavage does not have DRS. MDJ sets the fastest lap away as he pulls away from the Ferrari, but he's not done yet because P2 in the championship is currently P3 in the championship of Harry Kane is trying to hunt down MDJ and try to take P2 away to make it a McLaren 1-2. Harry Kane moves himself up into P2. 1 lap all the tyres is MDJ towards Harry Kane. With the second help of DRS as well, will get him closer and closer to MDJ. But bearing in mind though, MDJ is 2 corners away from picking up a penalty as well. So MDJ can be very consistent because as long as he don't get penalties, he should be ahead of Harry Kane. So I don't think in his case he should fight too hard against Harry Kane, knowing he's got a penalty to his name as well.
Yeah, if I was MDJ, let him through, let him waste his tyres, let him just burn ahead of me, use his ERS, try and use his fuel as well, and just sitting behind him, use the DRS and keep with him. If I'm MDJ, avoid risks like that. But it could be really close end, 11, 12 laps to go.
Very close indeed, as Ramavage there is still in the DRS range after losing it towards MDJ, but Harry Kane really struggling. He just had a massive moment coming out of turn 15 and 16 there, and that'll put him outside the 1 second range of DRS then. Those slow speed corners really catching people out. Now he's got Ramavage all over the back of him. He knows that 1 second outside of DRS range. Does he let Ramavage go so he can still remain in DRS range of MDJ? Because Ramavage ideally has got lots of straight line speed in that Ferrari. There he is then, moves himself up into P2. Does Ramavage, but Harry Kane around the outside trying to stick with it, which he does, but Ramavage will have another second dose of DRS down the straight then, but doesn't get a good exit cut out of turn 3, and actually Harry Kane has actually pulled away very slightly indeed and stays in P2 for the time being.
Yeah, Ramavage just not being able to get late enough on the brakes to cut off Harry Kane, because if ideally you want to just brake as late as possible to try and just cut off him going as late as possible, so and kind of just shove each other there, leave each other just enough room so one of you has to back out as Harry Kane gets back into the DRS.
Very crucially as well, all important DRS range. MDJ has been so close, he's dropped out of DRS range 3 times as MDJ towards the others, but these guys just getting themselves back in. I think it's going to be a top 3 fight now as Glock and Laser are a bit too far away now as they struggled early doors on their first stint. We saw Glock there lose the back in the car all the time, but now he's in P4 fighting against Laser. Glock was on the podium back at the USA Grand Prix. Actually, Glock, could he get a podium if Harry Kane? I think Glock needs to find a bit more time to try and close in on P3 there. So a podium's on the cards for Glock and Laserlord. That's if Harry Kane has more pace in comparison to those two, as well as Harry Kane is all over the back of MDJ again, trying to win a 3rd race in a row. Is the Norwegian driver, but is too far back. I think he's got the most wins out of anybody this season, has Harry Kane now, but he did miss 3 races. He appeared at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Burmeister is ahead and Mackie puts himself up into P7. Didn't have a good qualifying in Burmeister, but currently runs in P7. I think he picked up a podium as well back at the Spanish Grand Prix. One of his strongest drives this season is the Dutchman. I don't think he's won a Grand Prix this season, if I'm not mistaken, as Burmeister. No, he hasn't. He's actually picked up 1 podium this season too, according to this stats as well that I'm looking on my screens.
Yeah, Harry Kane's still there as well, Ramavage, and Glock is not in the penalty ranges anymore of Harry Kane. Mackie and Burmeister in DRS range of each other. Martin is starting to come down a little bit as well to Burmeister, so that'll be a close finish. Might see Ramavage might have just been in DRS there. I'm not too sure if he's fell out. He's just about got it.
He's quite low on ERS as well. Sorry to interrupt you, go ahead.
Yeah, here comes Harry Kane up the inside, and that is going to be race lead. Harry Kane, 2-stop strategy. Nice to see if you're a McLaren fan there. Laser up the inside of Glock there. Glock outbreak himself a little bit there.
Laser's now up into P4, then ahead of the Red Bull driver, gets the second dose of DRS as well for good measure. There's yellow flags, so JDM has crashed out, and it's a full-blown safety car.
And if you ride on board with Laurie Glass, you can see what's happened to JDM. He is just... That might be... Oh, that is a weird... That is a very weird place to crash that.
I couldn't quite tell where that was. Was it turn the exit of that
Yeah, it was
S section?
I'm just so if you ride on board with, so we'll go on board with Martin right now. So and I'll kind of direct you towards where it is. So if you head through here, you've got the left-hander, obviously. If you, I don't know if you're on board.
I am.
But you can, you got the right-hander, then you got the left-hander. You can usually lose it there. We saw Dan do that last night. But it's that wall directly in front of you there, with the Lenovo billboards. He's somehow gone off there, which is a very awkward place to lose it, as everyone is going to peel in to the pit lane.
Oh, Harry Kane!
Oh no! That's a race over for Harry Kane.
The consistency unfortunately hasn't paid well for Harry Kane. He's on 19 lap on mediums. Do you know what? I think he might go into the pit lane again and choose the soft compound tyres, because obviously those mediums can't go the distance, but they can, but they'll be very old. And Glock's on the medium compound tyres, so he feels like the softs aren't the way to go, unless obviously he used all of his soft compound tyres in qualifying. Bear in mind though, this should be about 4 or 5%, depends how well you treated them on your in lap in qualifying, because if you choose the balance strategy, you get 3 sets of softs, softer you get 4 sets of softs, and harder 2 sets of softs, so it depends what strategy you chose. But Harry Kane then, we're about to see him making another pit stop to go on a brand new, or maybe an old set of soft compound tyres, and service 5-second time penalty. This is an absolute shame for Harry Kane there. Picking up that 5-second time penalty. It's just the consistency in this that goes with it, as well as consistency with great race pace as well. But unfortunately, those 2 penalties have really cost him. He'll serve one of them in the pit lane, but that 3-second time penalty will stay with him, and I don't think he can claw his way back to the field as quickly as he did in the second stint on those medium compound tyres. So unfortunately for Harry Kane there, suffered a lot of pain in this race, and he's just gone downhill once again. It's such an easy place to speed as well.
This is Div 1 though, we can see anything happen in these last few laps. As just a quick, I don't really want to go on stream and say, but it's a really unlucky incident for Logan. I've just checked the stream. It's just kind of weird how he has lost it. But yeah, I'm sure the stewards will look into it to make sure it is not deliberate, of course. I don't think it will be deliberate though. Of course, we don't see that much in SFR, but it should be a really interesting finish to this race, as Harry Kane should peel off into the pits. He should come out in about P7, maybe P6.
And he does. Hopefully you don't get disqualified for overtaking the safety car, because I did this. I got disqualified. Oh no! Oh, he overtook the safety car way too quickly, and Harry Kane is out of the Mexican Grand Prix. 2 penalties and now disqualification. What a tragedy in this race for Harry Kane. I really do feel sorry for him. That's just a BS penalty. He's left the session as well in frustration, and he'll finish in P17. Well, Harry Kane just sums up his race, and I really do feel sorry for the Norwegian driver. Had such great pace, but picking up those penalties too, and now disqualification has just ended him off. Talk about ending him off. Adams has just crashed in the pit lane. What's happened to him?
He's retired into the pit lane. I think he's just realised, I don't really want to be up with the big boys, I guess. But yeah, it should be hopefully an interesting end.
Harry Kane, join the party, mate. If you're listening to the stream, we'll be very interested to hear from you, like we did in Monza.
Yeah, Harry Kane, yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's such a shame for you, man.
While the safety car is out, might get Harry Kane in here to talk to him. Maybe not for a podium interview, but in circumstances. And I'll tag him right now if you can't hear me on the stream.
To be honest, I'd definitely say driver of the day, Harry Kane. Just off of that comeback performance. Just a shame how it ended, I guess. But we'll just have to check on the rest of the race.
So, Harry, just we're still live at the moment, so try and refrain from swearing. But Harry, mate, I really do feel sorry for you. That first 3-second time penalty really cost you, because obviously the guys ahead don't have one. They could still get one, but now you're out of the race. It don't really matter for you anyway. But you had such great pace, mate. Talk us through your race.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I think I didn't think I would be that quicker on the 2-stop, but I think I was like 8/10 per lap quicker, so it worked really well. I got some contact multiple times that I think all my track limits were contact, so a bit unfortunate, but yeah. And the 5 second in the pit, I was under the pit limit, but I went on the gas and went over again.
Oh, I do know how that feels as well. I've done the same thing before as well myself. So it's an easy thing to do because sometimes you arrive a bit too slowly, then you have to get on the gas again, then get that penalty. So that is really unfortunate there. You're under the speed limit, then you just tap it a bit, then you're over the speed limit immediately. So that's probably one of those cases. But Harry, when you first pitted under the first safety car, did you expect to make your way through the field that quickly?
No, not really. I knew that before the race, if there was a safety car, I was going to pit. Because the two-stop is like 2 seconds slower from the start. So if it was a safety car, it will be quicker.
Fair enough, mate. And you made your way through the field very quickly indeed as well. That side-by-side moment with Mackett there really cost you as well. Do you think going side-by-side with Mackett when he overtook you again, do you think that cost you as well? Because you could have been the leaders very quickly, but Mackett had other ideas, which was fair enough. He's a racer. He'll go for it no matter what tyres people are on.
No, I don't think it cost me. I could maybe have used a bit less energy fighting him, but I caught up to the leaders before the pit stops, so yeah. And
you're on the same strategy but with fresher tyres towards the end as well, which would have been a great race all the way to the end. But the safety car is about to end this lap as well, and Harry Kane, not the circumstances I want to talk to you in the party like it was in Monza when you crashed out, but this time it's a disqualification. You're currently fighting MDJ, and MDJ's in first place. Before we get raced again, in fact, I'm going to have to end it because we're going into the end of the safety car period. So, Harry Kane, thank you so much for talking to me, and unlucky about your race here in Mexico. Come back stronger in Brazil. Your championship fight is very hot between yourself and MDJ, only 11 points separated. But get racing once again. Your teammate is all over the back of Glock, who's on those medium compound tyres. They go wheel to wheel as we head down into turn number 1. Lays on those soft compound tyres, should be ideally ahead of him, but no, Glock stays around the outside with a great move, defensive move into turn 1. That outside line proved to be a great line to go around the outside, but Laser gets a better exit out of turn number 3, and now side by side once again as Glock actually lets him go as we make our way down into turn before we go. Laser up into P3 ahead of Glock, but now I think we've got Burmeister and Martin and Mackie fighting in P6 and P7. They go wheel to wheel. It's all a bit optimistic down the inside, and that's not the door wasn't open in my opinion, I'm afraid. Unfortunately, I think he should have stayed behind, because there's no way you expect a driver to just go up the inside like that. And Cassidy is behind Sonic Hawk too, but congratulations Hurricane and you and Laser for winning the Constructors.
Yeah, thanks. It's not been that much of a competition, but hopefully it will be more next year.
Yeah, because you missed the first few races of the season. You appeared back at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We'd love to have you as well throughout the entirety of the season, fighting with MDJ, Laser in the championship as well. But yeah, congrats once again. You've still got a championship on your hands to fight for P2, try and make it McLaren 1-2. Is Brazil a good track for you?
I don't think it's a good track for me, but it's not a bad track either, so it will be exciting.
Thank you very much, mate. DRS will be enabled, I think, on the next lap then. That's we'll see the overtaking action between Ramavaj and MDJ. Once again, Ramavaj and MDJ throughout the entirety of this race have been close together. Ramavaj took pole. Sammy got past him, but Ramavaj made his way back through. And ever since, it's been a fight between P1 and P2. Lasers in P3 now. He was dropped out the 1 second range of DRS a few laps ago. But with the help of the safety car, it could help back in his way and try to stick with the top 2 there. Let's see what happens. Glock on those medium compound tyres. Looks like he's hanging on in there. Are you surprised with the mediums there, Charlie?
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite surprised. I think he's just going for it for safety, just to stay ahead of Bearmeister and all of them. But that is quite surprising. Maybe a strategic blunder on Glock's end. But yeah, that is quite surprising, unless he thinks softs will just die off and really die before the end of the race. And maybe he felt quite comfortable on mediums. Obviously, he was in the mediums on the second stint as Ramavaj gets the DRS as well now for the next few laps. And he doesn't even need it. Pace on that Ferrari, he's already passed them. What a move, Ramavaj around the outside. Can he get it done? Yes, he can. Fair play.
that straight line speed on the Ferrari has been impeccable indeed, and it's really helped Ramavaj. Even when he was outside the DRS range, he used a lot of battery disposal too. He's quite low on ERS, he's actually derating on this straight then, so could bite him back later stages of this race. Glock is still hanging on to the back of this battle though. His medium compound tyres might be in better shape than the soft compound tyres, because bearing in mind though, the softs aren't great around this circuit, and they do tend to wear tyre wear is very high around here in Mexico. As here we are then into turn 8 we go. Burmeister is fighting with Martins. Mackett has got past Oreo Glass for P10 there. I can't wait for the latter stages of this Grand Prix. What are these last two laps going to bring for the Mexican Grand Prix? Will it be Ramavaj? Will it be Laser Lord? Will it be MDJ? Or what about Glock? Glock is going for his first win of the season after being denied in the USA Grand Prix by Harry Kane as well, and the top 4 are mighty close as we head on to lap 35 of this race then. We'll see what happens down at the end of turn 1, but it could be a bit of DRS chicken towards lap 36.
Yeah, and MDJ down the straight now, DRS wide open, the letterbox as it is called, and the Ramavaj is just too quick, and that is Cassidy. Oh no, Cassie's round. But here comes MDJ, not enough to get past Laser, not enough to get past either a Glock. It's kind of just the tail to this train. Is what do they call it, the caboose? I'm not too sure, it's been a while. But Laser quite low on ERS, and he's derating of course. Oh, Glock!
Glock fighting for another podium. I think he's got 4 podiums this season. Has the Red Bull driver. He appeared back in the Spanish Grand Prix, was trying to go for a win, but unfortunately made contact with MDJ as well. I think down into turn number 9 it was, that left-hander, or turn number 8, but he's currently in P4. Glock's had a great season, had quite a few podiums this season, but unfortunately with the race wins as well, as he came his way. But hopefully for the Red Bull driver, a win is on the way for him, because he fully deserves it as well after fighting against Harry Kane, but Harry Kane outplayed him towards the end of the Grand Prix as well. But we're heading on to the final lap of this race. Ramavaj is probably in the worst position out of all of it, being in first in the DRS train. Will it be out-dragged? You can see a bit of a stop of oversteer out of the final corner. Last lap of the Grand Prix, he's derating. MDJ, biggest chance to use the ERS. He's got way more comparison to Ramavaj. He pulls the left-hand side to take the lead of this Grand Prix. Nothing Ramavaj could do. Has to sit behind the Mercedes driver, but any more advantages. Look at this side into turn 1! Oh my goodness me! What a move!
And there's contact. There is slight contact with him and Laser. And what a move! Glock, he's got up the inside, really late on the range. That could be reportable though, as he has kind of used Ramavaj as a breaking point. But that is a brilliant move.
Brilliant move, very late to the brakes indeed. That is for a podium, all or nothing in my opinion. It was the last lap of the Grand Prix. He had no other options. He's in P3 so far, and if he's in P3 to the end of the race, we only have to interview 2 because Glock doesn't have a mic, so it'll be much better for me in the podium interviews. But can Glock put pressure on Ramavaj in this last set? So you can see him carrying the balls. No, he goes off the track. Got to be very careful not to pick up a 3-second time penalty, which he doesn't do. Looks like he forgot to turn into turn 11 there as we head down into 12 then. Ramavaj sliding. Could he get him down the inside? No. And he'll try to go around the outside now. Into turn 12 we go. Ramavaj tries to push him wide. Glock has the inside line, and they both make contact once again. Into turn 16 we go. Glock has the slight edge. Could Laser slash a podium? No, he can't. MDJ wins the Mexican Grand Prix. Glock in P2, Ramavaj in P3, and Laser in P4. What a race! Glock snuck his way back into P2 there. Those mediums were better. As actually made contact with MDJ. The AI car has lost his end plate too. But what a race! MDJ, after a dismal race in Qatar, missed the US Grand Prix, and now he's back in P1 here in Mexico. What a phenomenal race here. I was very excited about the whole of it. Glock in P2 as well. After struggling early doors in this race, sliding all over the place, he came back with P2. What a sensational drive for him in the Red Bull. Ramavaj, well, there was the last lap where he was in the wrong position at the wrong time with no ERS, and that's what happens unfortunately when you're first in a DRS train. Nothing you can do whatsoever about it. He had a great race overall. Nice to see him on the podium though in P3.
Yeah, 100%. It's a brilliant end to that race, and I absolutely loved every minute of that race, every lap. Apart from maybe the safety cars, but that was still really good to watch. But I will have to go. I've got to go do my tea, so.
What, this time of day?
Yeah. Long story. Open evenings. Anyway, I shall see you later. Thank you for having me, Jamie. Hopefully I'll see you next week, but in the podium.
Yeah, hopefully next week in the podium interviews indeed. And Harry Kane, for same for you. If you're still here, by the way, are you still here?
Yep.
Did you watch the last few laps of that race?
Yeah, I did.
What did you think of it?
It was great racing, but maybe a bit too much contact for my liking.
What do you think of Glock's move into turn 1?
No, it was pretty bold. I think I would have got for the same, but yeah, great racing overall.
And imagine you in that battle too. It would have been a phenomenal race between all 5 of you if you were in that battle. But Martin, P5 once again. This driver always finds a way to get inside the top 5 very sneakily. The highest driver in the Drivers' Championship without any wins or podiums to his name. He's currently P4. He's fighting with Glock, but with Glock's second place, they're only separated by 5 points heading this race. So Glock might overtake Martin in the Drivers' Championship as the drivers now join the podium interviews as Harry Kane. Well, Thank you for being in the party with me and talking to me and trying to stay calm too, because I would have been very angry because you had great pace. So come back stronger in USA, mate, and good luck too. I mean in Brazil, sorry.
Yeah, thanks, and great commentating.
Thank you, mate, and thank you for that side-by-side battle in France too. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was. Bye.
Goodbye, mate. So Harry Kane has left the party. MDJ is in the party with me.
Yes.
Just Ramovaj should be in the drivers' chat, shouldn't he, for the Div 1? That's the second time I've interviewed someone mid-race when they've crashed out, been disqualified. I've never done it before in my whole 4 or 5 years of racing. I mean commentating, sorry. So wait, I don't think Glock has a mic, if I can remember it by memory. But Ramovaj, can you invite him please to the party? MDJ, I don't want to be off the screen. There he is. Well, we'll start with you, MDJ. Yeah, what a rollercoaster ride you had, mate. Fighting with the likes of Glock, Laser Lord, and Ramovaj too. Where you were qualifying, did you expect at all to win this Grand Prix? Did you know you had the pace to try and claw your way through the field?
I mean, I knew that I had a better race pace than I had in qualifying pace, but never have I thought that I would have enough pace to overtake everyone and be able to drive away. But because of Ramovaj's setup, it was very hard to do so, since his straight line speed is pretty much overpowered on Mexico, so that was hard and frustrating to see as well. And I actually thought after the safety car that Ramovaj was gonna win, because I thought he was gonna stay behind me until the last lap and overtake me then, but he didn't. I took advantage of that and overtook him myself on the last lap, which went in my favor.
Were you ever nervous about what Harry Kane or clawing his way to the field on a 2-star strategy? Did that ever cross your mind at all?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Were you ever nervous about Harry Kane coming to the field on a 2-star strategy when he pitted under the first safety car?
I knew that he was gonna get close, and I knew he was fast. I just saw that he had a 3-second time penalty, and I knew that the DRS is pretty overpowered, so I knew I could stay behind him within the 3-second. But when he pitted for old mediums, he got another 5-second time penalty, so I was even more relieved, and my focus was all Ramovaj. But then he made a mistake by overtaking the safety car when going into the pits, for the second time. But he should have just waited a second longer before going into the pits, and he would have been just fine.
Yeah, but you only get 2 seconds to give the place back, I believe, when you overtake the safety car, so that really did cost him. But what about your fight with Ramovage? Because you mentioned that it was so difficult to drop out of DRS, which he was. You did drop him out of DRS one stage, but that straight line speed and that Ferrari, despite low ERS, that was incredible. I don't know how he had that straight line speed. Must have been hurting his tyres really badly, so it must have been frustrating for you to break the DRS, then once again be back in it.
Yeah, and when I was thinking I was clear of him, Harry Kane towed him along, so that didn't help. Got me even more frustrated. But yeah, it is what it is, and I still won despite of it. So still happy.
Yeah, happy for you as well because you missed USA. What was the reason for that, by the way? If you missing USA, if you don't mind me asking.
I was preparing my car to go on the track and race myself.
Oh yeah, you did post it on your Instagram stories, so yeah, fair enough, mate. And
Yes.
Qatar, did you crash out? Or was that somebody else?
I spun in Qatar, lost my wing. I actually thought that I wouldn't got any points, so I just went to the pits and retired, which was a mistake because apparently you can actually get points.
So, do you think if you did turn up in USA, do you think you would have had the pace to try and fight Harry Kane and Glock in that race? Is USA a good track for you?
I mean, yes, it's a good track. I think I can. I fight them. I can always fight them. Winning is a different story. That's always a different, difficult answer.
Well, Glock, sorry, MDJ, I was talking about in the podium interviews. Every time I asked you, do you think you can take the championship away from Laser? But 2 races later, that all changed, and looks like the favour's going towards Laser Lord. So in the last 3 races of this season, Brazil, Las Vegas, and United Abu Dhabi, sorry. Do you think there's any chance now to try and fight Laser Lord in the championship? I think your focus is more towards Harry Kane because he's only 11 points behind, but that gap extends after this race.
I didn't even realize Harry Kane was pretty close behind me, so thanks for the heads up. Yeah, no, I'm still not thinking about any of the championship. I'm really just driving for fun at the moment, and seeing where I can end up at the end of the season. I'm not busy with it. Let's just say that.
Fair enough, mate. How did this track feel overall? Because me driving the track myself a few days ago, I was really struggling. Were you struggling out there for grip at all? Did the tyres stand around, or was it just fine for you?
The grip on Mexico, when you are on fresh tires, it's you have a lot of grip, but then after a few laps, it feels like you're driving on ice, and it's a bit hard, but you have to cope with it just like everyone else.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. That was a great race from you indeed. And how do you feel for the next race in Brazil?
Ooh, Brazil. Not my favorite track, but I will see what I can try on that track. Maybe we have some good points. Maybe we don't. Maybe we don't. We'll see.
Thank you so much, MDJ, for joining me in the podium interviews. Only one driver, as Ramovage did unfortunately have to leave. He was here momentarily, so only interviewed Harry Kane and you, MDJ, and we'll round it off here then. Congratulations on the win, mate. What a very good drive indeed. Overtaking the rest of the guys, Glock, Laser Lord and Harry Kane, then fighting with Ramovage for the entire race as well. Trading DRS until the last lap of the race where you was in the prime position with more DRS down the straight and got him into turn number 1 and sealed the deal to win the Mexican Grand Prix. So congratulations, mate. And we'll add it off then. So thank you so much, Charlie, for joining me in the commentary box. That's a very special occasion because he did have a race ban due to picking up too many penalty points, and that's why he wasn't able to race here in Mexico tonight. But round it off here then. Join me back at 7:30, whoever it is in the commentary box this season. We've had Energy Dan, we've had Bunnies, we've had Charlie Smithy, Shadow Lancer. Is anybody else going to join me in the commentary box? But it's been a pleasure to commentate every single race, not every single race, but majority of the races this season. And Glock says, don't feel like I was unfair, left the room and it was the last lap, so I have to try. Good racing all and great comms. Thank you so much, Glock. Glock, in my opinion too, I agree with you, because we will always see people barge each other, and you didn't cut the corner, because if you did, then you have to give the place back. But yeah, it was fair racing, and I expected that on the last lap too. As long as you didn't make contact with each other and spin and put each other in the wall, then that's what we ask for. Hard but fair racing, in my opinion. Wheel to wheel, proper edge stuff. So thank you so much, Glock, and we'll see you all next week at the Brazilian Grand Prix at 7:30 next Tuesday.